Hello and welcome to the North Bank podcast. I'm your host Holly. I'm joined by Stef. Hello, Stef.
Hello, Holly. And before you get started properly, can I just say a big thank you for bringing the Irish weather back with you? We're down to a lovely sort of low 20 degrees, and I've even had rain where I am today. So thank you very much.
Well, you say that, and just for context, and maybe as a little apology in advance, I'm awake since 2:45 a.m. this morning, where we left the house at about 3 a.m. and pretty much rocked up at home here, back in Blighty at about 4:45 p.m. So I'm completely frazzled, which will become patently clear as this show progresses. But I stepped out of the car and it was 25 degrees. I was like, oh my word, it's like an oven. And then I remembered that you guys are kind of more accustomed to 30 plus degrees. So
35 maybe.
Right. Well, look, you're welcome then with the Irish weather. I was looking at the forecast for the game on Friday. And there's potential for showers, like 40% chance of showers in Holloway around about 6, 7 p.m. on Friday evening. And I'm like, yes, yes. Normally that weather forecast would have been met with, oh, no, but not this time, not this time. Make it rain. We are going to be previewing the Coventry game, obviously, on Friday. Our first game as defending champions. It sounds and feels so good to say that. We'll also have a little look at what's turned out to be quite a busy transfer day in my absence, travelling. And just for reference, the drive back from Ireland to England last summer coincided with, it was the day we signed Ezri. So it's, I don't know, who will we sign next year on the drive back from Ireland? Vinny J, after he realises he's made a terrible mistake by staying under the tutelage of Mourinho. To kick us off, 3 questions as per usual. First question, was Arsenal's performance against City in the Community Shield the blueprint for the rest of the season? Question 2, specifically, what can we expect from Coventry? I've done a bit of research, and I still probably couldn't name more than 3 or 4 of their players, and that's not to disrespect them in any way. I'm just not aware. They're newly promoted. I know they had a brilliant season, scoring lots of goals, but specifically, what can we expect from Coventry? And the final question was a busy day in the transfer market today. We've United potentially signing Baleba from Brighton, Spurs signing Savinho and Marmoush from City, perhaps, and us and Ezri Konsa, obviously. It seems as if it's going to be quite a hectic final 10 days to 12 days of the transfer window. So I'm curious as to how we think Arsenal will look, what the landscape will be like on the 1st of September, for us and for others, perhaps. But anyway, to kick us off, first game of the season on Friday, Steph. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very excited. I've had a busy summer off from work, doing things around the homestead, and it's only in the last couple of days that I've been reading various previews and listening to various podcasts, and it's starting to bubble up my excitement for the football. And to it, so it's first game Friday night for us under the lights as defending champions against newly promoted Coventry. Therefore, it's also the first game for people to get their fantasy football teams in. We at the North Bank podcast have our own fantasy football league. If people would like to join, you sign up in the usual ways on the Premier League website. And to join our league, the code is 9JWTXH. You can find it on our socials if you forget that or need to find it again. But yeah, come and join the league. I think my friend, weirdly, George, won it last year. And I might even start a separate chat on the Patreon for people to chat about their fantasy football toils as it sort of goes along, because I know a lot of people get invested in it, which is good. And a little bit, can I do the feedback from the last episode because we did our season preview a couple of days ago, and I thought I'd open it up to our Patreon users. Now, I would have liked more engagement, and it's not to say that the people aren't active on there, but I am certainly incompetent at getting the messages out in time. But because they took the time to share it, I just wanted to share the responses to the questions that we asked last time. So we asked about what you're looking forward to this season, what is success for Arsenal this season, predict the top 6, and look at our first 5 games and how many points we're going to get. So just to dive into our Patreon, which people can sign up for free if you want to get involved in the chat that's going on there. Freddie, who's a regular contributor, says, I'm quite nervous by the season. I think because of the added expectation this season and the improvements made to the squad. I just hope the expectations don't affect the team by adding too much pressure on them.
I'd like to ask Freddie, does he still feel the same way after the Community Shield? Or was that his view after
This was after the Community Shield.
Yeah, okay, because I think you might have had your answer as to whether the team will feel this pressure in that game. Yeah. I think real pressure was last season.
Yeah, I heard Liam Tarm, I think his name is, who writes for The Athletic on a podcast, talking about the thing with champions going into any season where they're reigning champions is you've got to balance how much ambition are they getting going into that, and confidence are they getting going into that being champions, but also how much hunger might they have lost having already achieved it. But I think it's interesting signing the likes of Guimaraes, Zolis, and now Konsa as well. You know, there is a little bit of refreshment in there. Younger players, you know, Waneri, for example, there's talk of him going out on loan again, but if he does stick around with the squad, he's going to want to prove himself as well. So that's interesting. Freddie carries on. Success for Arsenal now is keep making progress, hopefully winning the league again, followed by hopefully another trophy. Not too worried by Champions League, but a domestic cup would be nice. Why not extend the FA Cup record? His prediction for the top 6, in 6th place Spurs, 5th Chelsea, 4th Liverpool, 3rd Man City, 2nd Man United, and Arsenal 1st. He says, I know it's just the big 6, but can't see many others competing due to mass improvements to each team, but do think City will drop off a little. And then he says, of the first 5 games, Coventry 3 points, Villa 1 point, we always seem to struggle there, Chelsea 3 points, just either a 1-0 or a 2-1 late goal win, Sunderland 3 points, redemptions for last season, and Brighton 3 points, fairly comfortable. That's what he's saying there. So yeah.
Is that 13?
3, 6, 9. Yes, it is 13.
I think I have the same total.
Yeah, but maybe by
no, I think Villa away a draw. I think I might have done that as well. I don't know.
And then Ben, hello Ben, regular contributor, also says, I'm excited to see the narrative the mainstream media peddle out. Now we are no longer bottlers. So I talked last time about the goalpost being moved. Now we have to win comfortably.
Yeah,
we have to win at a canter.
Yeah, that is the new narrative.
Like the Premier League isn't
Arsenal's
one of the hardest
lose.
leagues. Yeah, Arsenal's to lose and all that nonsense. His top 6 in reverse order is 6th place Liverpool, 5th Spurs, 4th United, 3rd City, 2nd Chelsea, and 1st Arsenal.
Well, I agree with the Chelsea second. I'm afraid of them. I don't know why. I know why. I'm just a little bit. Yeah. And
I was saying to you just before we came on air that actually I think having now read a bit more around the previews and listened to various things, I'm probably of a mind to worry about Chelsea a bit more as well. That factor of not playing European football. They've still got a massive squad to try and keep happy, but yeah, it could prove telling.
If their attack clicks, they've got João Pedro, Cole Palmer, Morgan Rogers, Estevao, Pedro Neto, who I think is going actually, but that's
But João Pedro with a point to prove having not been picked by Brazil, Cole Palmer with a point to prove having not picked by England and benefiting from a rest, and Morgan Rogers who's gone for a whacking great fee, but is a good player, a player we were obviously interested in. So yeah, if Chelsea can get that to function, then yeah, we should be worried. And then Ben says, first 5 games, a total of 9 points, drawing against Villa, Chelsea, and Brighton. Okay.
Brighton are losing a fair few players. If you think Belieber could be going to United, Van Hecker's gone.
Yeah, Belieber didn't feature a huge amount last season because he had quite a big injury. So I don't know if that'll hit the. It was the signing of Pascal Gross. They got him back from Dortmund that just changed the way their season was going. So I suppose if they can keep that momentum, but they've lost Welbeck, who was their top scorer. So yeah, Brighton will be slightly unknown.
Is that at Brighton? Sorry, I should know this.
It's at Brighton.
Okay, it's a tricky place. I mean, was that the Saka goal early on last season?
Yeah, 1-0. We were holding on, and then it was the same night City lost to or drew with Forest.
Forest, yes.
If I remember rightly, yeah.
That was one of the pivotal nights, wasn't it?
It was a big one. The people that I know, I didn't go to that one because it was midweek, so obviously with work it was difficult. But the people who I know who went said that the feeling at the end when they knew the final whistle gone at City was massive. And then Ben, just to finish, he says this season success has to be the league or Champions League, and doesn't really specify either, but that's what he says. So yeah, right, that's all the admin done. Thank you for everyone who contributed. You can join our Patreon for free. We may look at adding some extra bits for members later on in the season, but for now, join the chat.
Whilst you're on those kind of issues, I came back from Ireland today and opened a nice little package. I don't know if you can see it. I've got this wicked
For those just listening, Holly is now showing us his T-shirt, which is one of our brand new designs. One of our brand new designs that you can find on our Shopify. You can follow a link on our website, northbankafc.com, or you can go straight to our Shopify, which is my Shopify. I've forgotten what it is now. It's northbankpod.myshopify.com. There you go. We've got loads of T-shirts, mugs,
seamless
hoodies. Sorry, yeah.
I don't know, what do you describe? Like splashed artwork. It's almost like a
paintbrush effect. Of
the Art Deco Highbury facade. Is it? No, it's not.
Well, it's the fake Highbury facade that's on the side of the Emirates. This is getting very convoluted. But yes, it looks very good. It's a great T-shirt. We're very proud of it, the design.
Right, swiftly moving on from that professional revelation of everything that we do. I want to talk about Ezri Konsa. In a word, first, yes or no, are you on board with this signing?
Yes.
Yeah. So you hesitated.
Ask me say, Steph, can you give me a word to describe this signing?
Okay, Steph, can you give me a word to describe this signing?
Necessary.
Okay. I've been because I was out of commission all day, and the first sense I got was that 50 million or 51 million. I can't. Is it 51 plus add-ons or 51 including add-ons?
I can't remember.
It seems to be a bit contradictory at the moment. But say 50 plus million for Ezri Konsa, 28 years old. He's 29 in October, a month before Bruno G turns 29. And I'm delighted with the signing. I have to say, I'm delighted with the signing. And I asked you the question after the Community Shield. I said, how many defenders do we have on the bench? And we only had one. And so I said, look, this is a glaring weakness in our defence. You just know we'd be playing away at Villa Park on the 31st of August and Ben White gets injured. And there we're without Saliba for 4 or 5 months, Timber after the international break probably, if we're realistic, so October. And, how reliable will he be when he comes back? And then 22-year-old Mosquera, who I think is a brilliant player and has great potential and has done very, very well for us, by and large, and can cover it right back or centre back. But that's it. Then you can't play them all of the minutes. And we'd be sitting there thinking, why didn't we sign a backup? Why didn't we sign someone? Now, I know there are some people out there who wanted an alternative to Ezri Konsa. But for me, you alluded to it, there are so many levels to this that make sense to me. One is their motivation, how driven they will be. He's 28 years old. He's apparently really pushed to have this move happen in the last week to 10 days. And that's why I think Villa have dropped from their original kind of, we're not taking less than 60, 65 million to 50 million, because of his desire for the move to happen. he's not going to get another opportunity to join the champions. This was make or break, now or never for him. And you can understand completely why he'd want to do that. Seasoned in England international, I think he's played, I've written it down somewhere, 28 times for England. He's played almost 300 games for Villa. You go and check, if you're unsure about what kind of player we're signing, go and check in with some Villa fans online. They're gutted. Mm. They rate him as one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League. Now, I've done a little bit of research in my jaded mind since I got back. I've heard people say he's slow. Well, thanks to Gradient Sports, fast becoming one of my faves out there. Last season, no Arsenal centre-back hit a top speed over 33 kilometres an hour. Ezri Konsa's top speed was 33.26 kilometres an hour, so he has got pace. The other issue I've heard touted is he's good at centre-back, but he's really poor at right-back. So Breaking, I wanted to know how many games he's played at right back to see how experienced he is in that position. Well, he's played 286 games for Villa, 66 of those at right back. He's played 28 games for England, 5 of those at right back. He's not a Ben White right back. He's not an overlapping, marauding full back, whipping in crosses. That's not him. That's not his game. He will not do that. What he will do, he will invert. So Calafiori on the other side is playing as a centre forward. Not a problem. Ezri Konsa at right back will just slip in and become a third centre back.
Fine.
And that works.
Yeah.
That works. Okay. I asked AI, I apologise, to list me Konsa's strengths. And then I went online and I listened to a load of Aston Villa fans talking about him, and it was like the same thing. It was replicated. His positional intelligence is fantastic. He will not be beaten in a one-on-one either. His one-on-one is fantastic also. His composure on the ball, and he's got elite passing accuracy. I don't have the stats to back that up. And he's superb defensive stability and does have pace to get himself or the team out of spot or bother. He's not the marauding, overlapping right back. One Villa fan said that his consistency is incredible. He's a solid, constant 7 out of 10 every game. And just on our defensive personnel, perhaps, Rory Talks did a little video about half hour ago, and he listen to these players. This is our second 11. I'm going to conveniently ignore the goalkeeper, because there's a bit of a drop-off there, all right? But Ben White, right back, Konsa and Mosquera centre-backs, Hincapié left-back. Midfield, Zubimendi, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Eza. Front three, Martinelli, Gyökeres, Dauman. Madueke and Marino don't make either team, which is ridiculous. So I asked the question in the previous pod, do you think we are stronger now than we were at the end of last season? And
it's hard not to agree.
This is sensible. We've plugged the gaps. We're still one elite attacking signing away from having another almost perfect window. Last summer's transfer window got us the Premier League title ultimately.
And in attack, because I've read a few pieces now, people are talking about the need for the likes of Saka, Odegaard, Havertz to stay fit. Now, if they are able to provide us with more minutes and more time on the pitch this season than last, then that is an improvement to our attacking line this season. Added to which, we've got Zolis, who is catching everyone's eye at the moment.
Can I give you a stat on him?
Oh, is this the thing about like consecutive games?
Yeah.
Go on, because I can't remember it exactly.
It's now 19 consecutive club games where he's featured for a minimum at least 30 minutes that he's got a goal or assist.
Yeah, he just seems to be a guy who just posts
an output demon.
Yeah. So it could be that actually our attack has improved, without a huge amount of effort on the club's part. It is just about getting certain players back, more available, and augmenting that with Zolis as well.
And putting Bruno G in the midfield along with Miles Lewis-Skelly in that midfield. Look at Miles Lewis. I've watched that goal again. Did you watch? You have to go and watch his assist for Calafiori again.
Oh, whenever. I mean, yeah.
Lewis-Skelly. I don't understand how he saw the pass, because if you look at the replay, if you freeze frame at the point at which he's about to make the pass, or maybe like a second prior to that, Zolis is the ball to play.
Right.
He's in acres of space wide right, and he'll get into. If you put the ball in front of him, he'd run onto it, and he'll put the corridor of what do you call that? Like
corridor of uncertainty.
He'd put it across there for a tap in for someone, perhaps, or an own goal or whatever. But the ball he chose had so much more risk, and how he saw it, and it was perfectly weighted.
So good.
It was an amazing catch from him, an amazing spot, but the execution then. So you're absolutely right. Keep those other three players fit, but we've augmented the midfield with a tactical tweak with Miles Lewis-Skelly and a personnel injection with Bruno G.
Just going back to Konsa, because I'm seeing any slight negativity or hesitation, and nothing, people aren't really losing their minds over it, but some people are just, I think a lot of people are taken by the price, because it's a plug and play buy now kind of signing. And it's just like, well, there's two sort of trains of thinking. One, why worry about that, really? As a fan, you don't get into supporting a club to worry about whether or not we're going to be financially secure going on, and you can lose too much sleep over that sort of thing. And two, I don't know, the world of football and transfer fees and things is just a bit crazy at the moment. And I would argue that maybe to Villa, Konsa is probably worth a little bit more than what we're getting him for. I mean, they set that value 60 million, didn't they? And yeah, we'd probably prefer not to be paying £50 million for 28-year-olds. But at the same time, he won't just give us cover for the short term for Saliba while Saliba's injured. He will hopefully support the minutes of Ben White and Saliba for the next 2 years, maybe. Because Saliba's 23, I think now.
It also means that we don't have to rush Saliba back.
Don't have to rush Saliba back. You've still got Salmon developing in the background, obviously a lot further away at 16 years old.
And it's not blocking. This is a signing that facilitates the development of Marley Salmon as well.
Yeah. It is just sensible, like you say. It's just a sensible signing.
And I think that's it. You said it's a necessary signing. I think it's a very, very good one because it offers that flexibility in terms of cover and position. Ben White was £50 million. I know he's a lot younger, but people balked when we dropped £50 million on Ben White.
One thing I did see, did you see what Hand of Arsenal tweeted and posted?
Maybe not, I don't know.
So Hand of Arsenal basically broke it that, basically the deal's in place, medical will happen
tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow? Yeah.
What day's tomorrow?
Thursday. The thing he also added to one of his posts was that the discussions were going on with the club, and I'm not quoting it perfectly, but he said something along the lines of tensions were still there following the Ollie Watkins pursuit by Arsenal.
Oh yes, between the clubs.
However, this was allayed by Josh Kroenke stepping in. And in my head, and I haven't looked this up, so I don't actually know, was Berta around for the Ollie Watkins pursuit? I don't think he was. So I couldn't tell whether this was a Berta issue or whether it was just an Arsenal generally kind of issue. But I think it maybe says a lot that in the past we may have rubbed up one or two clubs the wrong way, whether that's just lowballing them or... And
relationships is really important because that's how we got Eza. It was Parish and... Who was the Arsenal director that left? It wasn't...
Tim... I've forgotten his name now. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and it was their relationship
that
allowed that deal to ultimately, be delayed long enough for us to be in a position to make it work.
So I just thought that was interesting, and we'll see how that plays out, especially as we look to maybe go for that striker signing or left winger signing that could push the boat out a little bit, and yeah, just makes you wonder.
Yeah, it's not a glamorous signing, Ezri Konsa. You could argue that Bruno Guimaraes isn't that signing either. Perhaps, I mean, I'd argue against that, but Zolis, certainly when he was linked, and until we've seen him in action, he wasn't that wow kind of signing either. But we are the defending champions, and right here, right now, I believe we are stronger considerably than we were at the end of last season in the areas that we needed to be. Martin Ødegaard at no point last season looks as good as he did against Man City in the Community Shield. We haven't seen that Ødegaard for a couple of seasons. I'm not going to say like a new signing, but so look, of course I want a new shiny toy up front. But if we don't get it and we don't sell Martinelli, am I okay with that? Well, I'll be a little bit. I still won't be able to shake the sense that it's a bit of an opportunity missed. Other fans are looking at our signings this summer, believe me, and thinking, "Holy crap!" The best defensive team in the Premier League by some distance has just signed the Newcastle captain and Ezri Konsa. Villa fans' view of one of the best centre backs in the Premier League at the moment. So, and they've seen how our attacking fluency stacked up against Man City the weekend. They're terrified. If we were to add a Yildiz or an Alvarez to that, then
would be a dream.
Yeah, it's ours to lose, Stef. Look, Coventry on Friday. I must look. I don't know a lot about Coventry. A couple of little things I've had in head-to-heads. We've won 9 and drawn 1 of our last 11 meetings with Coventry in all competitions. They've signed 9 players so far. I think you're going to talk a little bit about 1 or 2 of those in a minute. They scored 97 goals last season. So they were last season, the Championship, a real attacking force. However, and something that we need to be mindful of, perhaps, is they were the Championship's set-piece kings. They scored 29 non-penalty goals last season. They're quite high physicality in both boxes they have. And so I'm assuming, Steve, you can correct me, they will sit back and try and soak up pressure and hit us on the break.
Well, and props again to Lewis Ambrose, who's becoming a sort of secret 4th member of the North Bank podcast as we keep reading his Substack and kind of using his information. But reading his season preview was interesting because he's gone through all the transfers and everything like that. But there's the bit about sort of why they're optimistic is because they'll have a go. They are an attacking outfit and will go for it. And Lampard has proven himself the couple of times that he's managed in the Premier League to not really deviate from that too much. So it will be interesting. I mean, who knows? They could turn around and go, let's actually sit in and try and hit on the counter.
I mean, it's a free hit for them, isn't it?
Well, opening game, massively, it's a free hit. It's kind of lose-lose for us. Away at the champions, no one's expecting a thing. So you could argue that they should just try and play the way that they ideally want to play, or they use it as a kind of exercise to maybe try something that is a little bit more defensive, counter-attacking, which they probably didn't do a huge amount of last season, and I'll admit, I'm ignorant. I don't watch enough of the Championship to know fully. What I do know, again, from Lewis Ambrose' preview is that they've got 3 strikers to basically choose from: Ellis Sims, Hadji Wright, and they've signed during the window Forest's striker Taiwo Awoniyi. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that. Who
Yes.
The last time Arsenal failed to
I
beat
know.
a newly promoted side was Nottingham Forest. We lost 1-0, and who scored? Coventry's new
Tyo.
signing. Yay, great, isn't it? Yeah, so that was interesting to sort of read. The other things that he sort of pointed out, they've secured their goalkeeper that they had on loan from Brighton last year, Carl Rushworth. They've signed a young Ghanaian midfielder. They've signed a Burnley winger. And my favourite was the dual-loving Frankfurt centre-back, Aurélie Amenda. So there's a little bit of robustness, but they all skew slightly young. They're not going for old heads. If we talk about Ipswich, whenever we play them, they've very much gone down the route of looking to get in slightly more seasoned players, I would argue, and slightly more robustness.
There's something to be said for that. Look at Sunderland and Granit Xhaka.
And it's exactly what Lewis references is in his Substack as well, with Sunderland and who else was it last year? Leeds, to a certain degree as well. But who knows? And it is very much that unknown quantity. What I will say personally is, I'm just really glad to have Coventry back, because I know my formative years as a football fan in the 1990s, growing up, watching Match of the Day, Coventry were a fixture. They just were a top division club and were there for season after season. And there'll be names from that sort of period, Steve Ogrizovic or Peter Undlove and alike, who, they conjure up huge nostalgic feelings and memories.
Go a little bit further back, and one of my favourite moments watching other football teams, because they do exist, was an FA Cup final, Keith Houchin diving header. I'm not sure whether was that the 3-2 winner against Spurs or not.
They beat Spurs. I remember they beat Spurs. I can't remember the score.
Just that moment, the Keith Houchin diving header at Wembley. It's like, wow, that's brilliant. And beating Spurs obviously played no small part in that becoming a memorable football watching moment.
And they've been through the ringer in their period out from the top flight. I remember there were periods they were having to play at Northampton's ground because they didn't own their own stadium, and there was issues going on sort of behind the scenes. So their fans have been through the ringer, and I'm sure they'll give a good account of themselves. And as much as we might give Frank Lampard a bit of stick, he's done good jobs at Derby. He held the tiller a little bit at Chelsea.
He started with Derby in 6th. He ended with Derby in 6th.
Yeah, fine, but that's not an easy job. And
he what was his Chelsea record the second time round?
Yeah, not great.
He was nearly 007, wasn't he?
But I think he's a decent coach.
I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not a fan.
We malign other managers for far poorer records than that. And there is a thing. I'm interested by the fact that they've bought younger players. The young Ghanaian player at 20, Caleb Urenki. I think I'm, again, probably pronouncing that wrong. Because he is someone that likes to work with younger players. He was responsible for Mason Mount coming through at Derby when he was on loan. So, that's something, if he has a certain niche, that would probably be what it is. No one will be tipping them for survival, but that's because it's a very competitive league, but you never know. I think with the fact that they've stacked their front line and have 3 strikers to choose from means that they can at least try something different should it not work initially. Yeah.
I think what Coventry have in their favour this season is that the 3 promoted clubs did not go down last season. Mm-hmm. So 2 of those clubs stayed up, didn't they? Leeds and Sunderland. Yeah, I think that's right, isn't it? Leeds and Sunderland both stayed up, and both have been promoted the previous season. Yep. So there's 5 clubs there, the 3 promoted clubs plus Leeds plus Sunderland, who will all fancy outdoing each other. If I know Sunderland will probably have loftier ambitions than that, but
Sunderland have Europe to contend with as well.
They do as well, yeah.
There's going to be some interesting seasons down there at the bottom. I know a lot of people are probably getting carried away tipping the likes of Newcastle, say, to be in a relegation fight. But when the mood, following having most of your team sold from underneath you, it will affect things somewhat, I'm sure. So I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 surprise teams fighing it out at the bottom.
Yeah. Look, really like Coventry. Delighted they're up. Don't like Frank Lampard. That's my
fine.
That's my view. And I'm not for turning. Chris, who is still in Cyprus and is still struggling to connect with us, has sent in his team prediction, his team lineup for the game. Would you like to?
Yeah, I'll go through that. Initially, I saw it and I went, I can absolutely see that being the starting three, but I have made one or two changes. He's got David Raya in goal. He's got a back four of White, Mosquera, Gabriel and Calafiori. He's got a midfield three with Bruno as the slightly more holding midfielder, Odegaard, Bruno Guimaraes and Lewis Skelly. And then a front three of Saka, Havertz and Zolis.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does yours deviate?
Mine deviates in, I thought it was two ways, but looking at it now, it's only one. I've got Rice coming in instead of Lewis Skelly. So
really?
It's a midfield three of Odegaard, Rice and Bruno.
Okay.
I think he's going to want to try out them on the pitch together, starting, before we get to even Villa in the next game.
That's interesting because for the same reason, I think this is a game that you don't need to rush. Like, if we're being honest, home to Coventry, game 1, game 2, away to Villa. Well, away to Villa is going to be far more difficult than home to Coventry. That's how anyone would view those two fixtures, perhaps. I see what you're saying. Get Rice, the three of those with experience of playing together against Coventry, and then replicate it. They'll improve on they'll iron out any issues they had for the Villa game. I just see that it's home to Coventry is a great opportunity to allow more rest for the likes of Saka and Rice.
Look, if I was picking my team, Saka, Rice for me would be starting from the bench.
Yeah,
give them the run out they sort of need, but ultimately, rest them more, because I was the one shouting loudest at how. What's the word? The negligence, that's the word I'm looking for, of playing Rice when he was clearly struggling so much. I mean, Saka was hinting at the fact that he was probably fitter than people were giving him credit for, which was a bit of a pointed thing, perhaps at the England coaching staff. But still, I feel like there's no need to rush them if we don't need to. But I think Arteta will want to see Bruno and Rice together. We'll see.
Yeah, I've got the same as Chris, except on the right, I haven't got Saka starting. I've got Max Dowman starting.
Okay.
And again, do I think Arteta will play Max Dowman from the start? Possibly not.
No.
But I don't want to see Madueke start.
No, he didn't.
You're not going to get any. Was Madueke rusty against City, or is that just Madueke? Fine, put him on against tiring defences, cause a bit of chaos, not a problem at all. I think he's a really useful squad component, absolutely. But would I rather Max Dowman get more Premier League minutes under his belt? I mean, I'd rather Nwaneri get more minutes under his... I still can't... I know Nwaneri sees himself in the middle more, but I can't escape the sense that had Nwaneri been given Madueke's minutes last season, Nwaneri would have had far greater output than Madueke had, and I can't lose that sense. So I don't want to see Madueke start. Probably a lot of games I'll feel like that. Obviously, Saka's number one choice to start, but I think home to Coventry should not be a game where you take any risk with any of your established stars' injury issues or fitness issues or fatigue issues, whatever they are. So someone did mention that Bruno G went off with a bit of an ice pack on his thigh after the Community Shield game. So something to keep an eye on. I did hear someone else say subsequent to that was purely precautionary. There's no issue there. But again, home to Coventry is not a game to risk that. We absolutely should have enough with the starting 11, and take your starting 11 or my starting 11 or anyone's starting 11 and look at the bench.
Well, just let's do the midfield. So let's assume it's like Chris and yourself said. So it's Odegaard, Bruno and MLS. On the bench, Zubamendi, Marino,
Rice.
Havertz could drop in there. Rice is there. Eza. I mean, it's just silly.
Do you know what? I think just the rest of you just give up.
Well, what I'm hoping for, I know me and Dave, who I often go to away games with, would always say, he said, the thing that used to wind us up so much, and Villa did this. Do you remember when, it would have been 3 years ago now, we had that brilliant run at the end of the season, only lost one game trying to compete with City. And who did we lose to?
Villa.
Aston Villa, 1-0. Who did City beat the week before? Aston Villa. How many changes did they make against bloody City?
Unai hates us.
Well, Unai hates us, but it also typifies this thing. Because City have this aura about them, the amount of teams that would just go in with a kind of damage limitation, what we'll do, we'll make a couple of changes, not worry too much about this game, because next week we're playing X team and we need the 3 points there. Treat us like that. Make the changes against us. Sacrifice us so you win your next game. Thanks. No.
Well, as defending champions and with the players that we've got, you add that elite striker or that elite left winger to our arsenal, then I can't see how teams wouldn't view us. A lot will depend on how we start the season.
Yeah,
and I'm much more encouraged after watching the performance against City. I know City were poor and a pepless City. Well, we'll chat about that in a second. I know. Look, I'm very much tongue in cheek. So if I have been clipped and it goes out on social media that I'm so arrogant and cocky that I think all our rivals should just pack up and go home, the league's already done and dusted. That's not the case at all. And watch us struggle.
0-0 after 60 minutes on Friday, and you're just turning round to me going, "We're back."
My fault. I was going worse than that. I was going into the 80s and we still haven't scored. And we're doing this, what's it, the arc of frustration or whatever it's called. And we score from a corner kick or something. And it's, so what is it? The more things change, the more they stay the same. Or
yeah. Out with the old boss, in with the new boss.
Yeah. Just on other teams at the moment, what's your thoughts on how... Let's take Spurs, because if Spurs get Savinho and Marmoush from City, on top of Van Hecke and Senesi at the back, and Tonali and Fernandes in the middle, there's 6 players they've bought to improve the first 11.
Yep.
No, we talk about injuries, but if they get, and I don't know, but if they get a fully fit James Maddison from the start of the season, a fully fit Kudus from the start of the season, a fully fit Kulusevski from the start of the season, there's someone else who's injured a lot.
Solanke,
a fully fit
Richarlison, maybe.
He's rubbish anyway. But Solanke's not, a terrifying striker, but he's
good.
They've got a very strong squad, and I'll just point to Jesus and Zinchenko. We got them as a double cast off from Man City, and they helped transform us off and on the pitch. Now, I'm not saying that Marmoush and Savinho are. Someone described them as Premier League proven, and I think you could argue that whether Savinho or Marmoush are actually Premier League proven. They've got Premier League experience, but they've not nailed down starting berths at Man City, and they've not really made great impact from the bench either. And there's a reason Man City are letting them go. We'll talk about Man City, the Man City angle on this in a minute. But what are your thoughts on Spurs?
For Spurs, I think they're good signings. They have suffered a lot of injuries, and so having that greater depth and raising the floor certainly will improve them. Of the two, I actually prefer Marmoush from what I've seen of him. Savinho, I don't know, just never caught the eye, whereas Marmoush certainly had spells where he did, and then had a few injuries here and there. But to me, it's one I can't... And Spurs are going to be interesting because, again, no European football. A good manager, but like we say, can be quite volatile as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But I can't help but see those more through the sales rather than them as purchases, because I think it's staggering that Man City can potentially look to offload. How much was Marmoush? Was he 60, 70 million? They
Yeah.
bought him in January, so he's been there basically 18 months.
It's a separate podcast. We could go through all their misses in the last. I mean, they've spent £800 million in the last since January 25.
And we know we've spent some money, but at the same time, it's not so much the money spent; it's the way that they can just write off a player. Oh, we've spent all that; it doesn't really matter. I mean, look at Grealish was 100 million. Went there, did some bits, but not really. Most people would argue that they took what was so good about Jack Grealish out of Jack Grealish, and
he was their first sub on Sunday, by the way.
Yeah, fine, but you know,
no, but I agree. That's an indication of poor squads building.
Yeah, exactly. And so to buy someone like Marmoush in January, 70 million, I think, ish, sort of pounds, 18 months later, you're just going to write him off and sell him. I mean, it also smacks of, do they know something's coming down the road? Because there seems to be far more players leaving City than coming in. Now, it could be, because, we say this, a week or 10 days out from the end of the transfer window, that they could go absolutely mad in their spending. We're expecting the 18-year-old Bouadi, the Moroccan, to be arriving fairly soon. So maybe
and Enzo Fernandez as well.
Well, the Enzo thing is in the background, but I know Chelsea are very much of an opinion that, look, if he goes, we need to replace him. Whoever we replace him with is going to annoy the people we're buying off, so it's going to be silly money. Maybe that's what City are laying the groundwork for. But again, is that how City operates? Because it hasn't been, and it just seems odd that they would do that. Very, very strange.
Yeah, it's one to watch, certainly for City. They've lost Aki and Stones and Bernardo Silva and Rodri. Now, they're real personalities around the changing room. Interestingly, Norgard has left us to go to Everton, but there was some video doing the rounds. I haven't seen the video, but I've seen a bit of a commentary on the video that the Arsenal player messages to him, wishing him well in his move to Everton, pretty much were unanimous in saying that he was one of the integral reasons that we won the league, because of his absolute commitment to winning.
Wow.
Off the pitch. Yeah, he didn't have enough minutes in the Premier League. Absolutely. And he was Brentford captain before he came to us. And I think Everton are getting a really kind of quality purchase there for like £7 or £8 million. So there's a lot to be said for that personality behind the scenes. And City seem to have lost a lot of that. And they've lost the main proponent of that, i.e. Pep. So, I mean, Maresca may look like Pep from a distance, but I think that's where the similarities end. Yeah, that's where that's where the similarities end. It's at this point anyway. And look, I'm here for get the popcorn out. I'm here to watch City's rapid decline back to oblivion. Yeah.
What is it? Nine clubs have new managers going into the new season. And
yes, something
so
like that.
There's a huge amount of unknown. If any of them have good starts, fine, they'll be afforded time. But it does make it interesting that what would have to happen and maybe the expectation is high. De Zerbi's probably out of that because Tottenham 2 17th place finishes. That's slightly different. But for Iraola at Liverpool, Alonso at Chelsea, Maresca at City, what has to happen? The expectation for them. And look, City are serial winners. Pep has made them that way. So to follow in those footsteps is huge. Without a good start, I mean, the noise will build very quickly. And Maresca himself has proven in the past to be quite prickly at times. And I know Pep can be. I mean, I say that as Arteta can be massively as well. What manager probably isn't. But it just doesn't bode well. I see someone like Alonso at Chelsea being relatively calm, able to kind of brush it off. And Chelsea is a bit basket case anyway, so maybe that will be slightly different. And Iraola at Liverpool is someone I get the impression he actively doesn't really want the limelight. He just wants to get on, do his job, and go. I think he's a very good coach, but obviously the expectations at Liverpool are very different.
Klopp was a big personality.
Big.
He drove Liverpool very much in his own image,
massively.
and what is Iraola's image? Not entirely sure. He's lovely. He seems like a really decent human being. First manager, second.
And
worked wonders with Bournemouth.
Him, Arteta, and Alonso played in the same youth team in the Basque Country. Amazing.
It's mad. Yeah,
that's great.
And Alonso's the fear for me. Chelsea are the fear for me until they prove otherwise. I will be, as I think is so important that we play them third game and we have to beat them. We can't give them a sniff. Now I do realise that when Conte took over at Chelsea, did they go to a back three after they lost to our place?
We smashed them 3-0.
Yeah,
and then they went to a back three and walked the league.
Yeah, luckily Alonso was already going to start with a back three, so we can't have that replicated. But they've got a big squad, but they've got some real quality throughout. I mean, if they've got a weakness for me, it's in goal. Their goalkeeper, Sanchez, if it's him.
Really, yeah.
And relying on Reece James' fitness, not always sensible to do that. They've
also got to sort out their temperament. Too many red cards last season. Far too many.
Although Cucurella's gone.
Yeah, but Caicedo, great midfielder, but it's a liability. Enzo's an absolute...
I must admit, I would like Man City to take Enzo from Chelsea. I think that weakens Chelsea and doesn't necessarily strengthen Man City enough, perhaps. I don't know. It's a little bit... Alonso's one, like you see, he's taken a young underdog team and beaten Bayern Munich in the season. He had then his experience at Real Madrid. I'm hoping Chelsea is more Real Madrid than Bayern Munich. So Chelsea worry me, they do. And fair play to Spurs. I mean, you can't argue with this response to two 17th place finishes. My only hope as an Arsenal fan is that it doesn't get off to the best start, and De Zerbi's known for his patience, his hot-headedness. And yeah, I don't know how much money they're going to have to pay Man City for both Savinho and Marmoush. I haven't seen any numbers touted around, but you'd imagine the combined total would be there something like 130 to 140 million. You would have thought that's 60 to 70 million each. I don't know. I mean, City seem to be buying these players, but still managing to make a bit of a profit on them. Is it Reinders has gone? So they bought him for 60. They bought him for 60 million. He stanked the place out for 18 months, and they've sold him for 65, 70 million.
See, and that's what we can't do. We have to make our purchases either lower, like a Zolis and a Trossard before that, or if we are making a big signing, they have to kind of be a sure thing, like a Rice. It's all a bit different, with what we've got to play with. Yeah.
United?
Well, I think United are doing that thing we said, I think, before we came on air, that it's almost like when clubs go through a rebuild, the common thinking is that you build from the back. And that's what Arsenal have done, goalkeeper, defence.
Chelsea did it.
Chelsea did it, yeah, exactly. United appear to be building from the front back. Last summer, they very much got in players. Cunha and Mbeumo know the league, very good competitors, very good. Sesko, yeah, all right, young, but has certainly grown as the season's gone on, but could be a sort of star striker. They may bring Rashford back into the fold, we don't know. And then this summer seems to be a rebuild in midfield. They had to replace Casemiro. They've got in Tielemans because they knew there was a release
really
clause,
cheap as
which
well.
I think is a very good signing. And the rumours today is that they're going to get Balaba from Brighton, which was a player they were interested in before, who has a very high ceiling, and could improve them.
Santos from Chelsea for 50 million as well.
Santos from Chelsea. Again, I was doing okay at Chelsea, and I know United fans probably feel like they've maybe overpaid somewhat, but I think he does just help with that depth issue that they've got. Add in the fact that they've still got Mainu, who can develop and hopefully get more game time, and they won't have any more free Kobe T-shirts doing the rounds in the stands. And Mason Mount, who sort of came back into the fold a little bit sort of last time. The issue will be just, making that defence work, because Goldbridge had, I saw a little clip of him talking about the fact that in 2022, so we're talking 4 years ago, United's back four was Dalot, Maguire, Martinez and Shaw. Now, that is there is a feasible chance that could be a back four that they field this season as well. So there's been no real development or churn in the defence, which everyone knows has been a bit of an issue for them.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look back. You mentioned United, and I think defensively that is their weakest kind of section of the teams for sure. People were complaining about us signing two 28-year-olds and, thinking of, future-proofing. But we've got quite a young squad, and the two 28-year-olds are very much win-now players. Mm-hmm. But we have been linked with two Manchester United youth team players today as well, a 19 and a 20-year-old. And I can't find the tweet now, but so we are, and we have picked up quite a few young players. I know we missed out on Jeremy Monga from Leicester to Man City, and Man City signed another Scandinavian player, didn't they? A midfielder. In January. Yeah, in January we were linked with him for several months.
Oh,
he was coming, and he went back out on loan somewhere as well. But we are definitely, it's one of the things that the youth academy manager was tasked with improving improving the profitability of our academy, i.e., creating these players, building these players, and then being able to command reasonable fees for these players that don't manage to break into Arsenal's first team. So like a Waneri sale, for example, because pure profit, and you get 50 million for him, and that allows you to spend, three 80 million pound players because of the way it's done on the amortization.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the amortization part of it that's interesting.
Pretend
you get 50 million now, yeah. But if you buy someone in 3 chunks, yeah, it also works out like that. The two players I have found from Daily Cannon, James Scanlon and Habib Ogunye. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. Apologies.
Yeah, so I don't know what positions they're in or anything like that, but that was quite interesting. You don't often hear United have come and stolen off our academy with Aidan Heaven and Chido Obi. And Heaven's made great strides there. And I remember saying at the time, he was the one Arsenal wanted to keep. They weren't that bothered about Chido Obi, even though he scored like 9 goals against Liverpool for the kids. But physically, he'd grown a lot quicker than his contemporaries, and that seems to have caught up with him now. Anyway, I think we've covered enough of the opposition.
Holly, we forgot one thing. We didn't do a score prediction for
we didn't.
Coventry.
I've written it down. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
Go with Chris's first.
Chris has predicted 3-0 to the Arsenal.
And you?
2-0 to the Arsenal.
Right. So I had written down 3-0, and because Chris did it, I've changed mine to 4-0.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do tune back in for my tears on Friday, 10 o'clock. We will have an instant reaction after the Coventry game. Myself and yourself will be at the game, and so we'll record a little piece, and I think Chris will be able to
patch something together. Yeah,
and stick it out after the game, and then at the weekend we'll have a more detailed, because we've got a nice 10-day gap between our first 2 games, which all right. Playing on the Monday night, you've got to sit through the entire weekend of fixtures, just chomping at the bit, waiting for your game. But I don't, because of the players and their minutes or lack of minutes, I'm quite happy that there's a 10-day gap between game 1 and game 2.
And I like the fact that we've got this Friday night, because if we win, I'm looking forward to then just spending Saturday and Sunday, watching the rest of the games and having a look, see what other teams are doing. Can't wait.
Even though they're just wasting their time.
Anyway,
I'm obviously being
Holly,
serious.
It's too early, as my T-shirt can attest. My North Bank Pod T-shirt from our shop. Buy our merch.
Right, on that. Okay, brilliant. Cheers to the chat. I hope it wasn't too garbled, because I have no idea which way is up at the moment. But anyway, we'll be back after Friday. Just if anyone's going to the game that's listening or watching, we'll be around about block 6. Block 5, 6 in the concourse from about 40 minutes before kickoff. Come and say hello. or have a go at me for being too cocky, whatever. In the meantime, enjoy the next couple of days. See you next time. Bye.
Cheers, boys.
The North Bank, an Arsenal podcast. Subscribe, rate and review on your app and find us on your socials at North Bank Pod. Email hello@thenorthbankafc.com and check out our website, thenorthbankafc.com. Produced by the Podcast Company.